Damn, had some bad luck. I had a SD card sitting on my laptop, like right near the hinge for the screen. Last night, and all I did was went like that. Then I went a little bit. And now the screen of my laptop has got this big distortion going on across the bottom of the side. At least it works on there. That sucks. Damn. So I guess what? Get it replaced somehow? These things aren't cheap. Look at that sucker. Very fragile. I mean, the amount of shit this thing's been through with me going up north and in the woods and stuff. Like I need that. I don't have enough time to deal with that shit. Anyway. How's it going? Christmas is closing in. Christmas is closing in. Oh. Foggy, chilly morning. I actually replied to a few emails this morning. Holy, that's pretty big for me. Now, what do we got? What do we have today? A million people emailed me, I guess a tweet or an X or whatever you want to call it, of Donald Trump trolling Trudeau, calling him the governor of the 51st state or something like that. And I'm like, we'll see how shit plays out when it comes to people in power. What's really going to happen, how our futures are looking, I don't know. Our futures are all in our own hands, right? Ultimately, whatever you create is going to be your future, your life, depending on what your level of being scared is of others or anything. But, it's like little tiny examples of what's going on, the moment I saw Hillary Clinton come on stage with Christia, the Nazi spawn, Freeland in Canada, and applauded her, welcoming her on stage. Then we're like, okay, that's confirmed. The Canadian tyrants are in bed with the bad guys across the board. So, there you go. Is Trump going to really clean house? I don't know. I really don't know. We'll see. I guess what would be the signs? What would be the blatant signs if that was going to go down? Well, let me see. The Epstein Island child raping club name list. If that doesn't come out, don't expect anything to change anytime soon. It's just one small indicator, right? One small indicator. If any of the previous people in power who caused all these wars, stole all the money, suppressed quality of life for society, if none of them see jail time or even a rope around their neck, well, don't hold your breath. Right? That'd be a pretty easy indicator that the good guy army is present. Don't you think? I'm not saying anything bad about the Trump gang. I'm just saying we'll see. We'll see. All right? There's some pretty simple, easy ones right there to show us that justice may be real in society, but I'm not holding my breath. We'll see what happens. It's funny, too, I was watching, I caught a quick clip this morning when I had my first coffee on the go. Big news, Jay-Z and Diddy. And then as soon as I see that title now, it's like, ho-ha. I do not give a flying shit what goes on in celebrity world. And as long as those stories are brought to the face of the humans, I don't know. Is there much hope? I haven't a clue. So I do not believe that the so-called celebrities should be focused on at all. Myself, there's a lot bigger frickin' fish swimming around. Right? They really make a big difference. And there is probably I'll bet you there's a 500 to 1,000 Diddies and Jay-Z's or whoever you want to call them in operation right here in my backyard. In Vancouver, British Columbia. Guaranteed. And probably 10 times that in New York, LA, Atlanta, wherever, right? Ramblin' babblin'. All right, let's get going here this morning as we all are seeking real truth. Right? All right. Well, let us get her going. Here's an email from the late great Scott Carpenter. Wasn't read by me yet, publicly, or even read at all by me. So, why they don't attack and pop heads off. Deep stuff. Steve, learning about these things is a process like anything else. You start with the basic understanding, then build upon that. As I learn more, I add to that. And with all things, especially this subject, the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know, and just how ignorant I am. So let's eat this elephant one bite at a time. I'll go through and break down my answers to various questions in individual emails. Easy to explain and easier for you to read, especially given your limited time. Let's start with the Dogman. Good place to start. The creature known as Dogman is a cryptid that combines human mitochondrial DNA with canine/human mix NU DNA. I've talked with a scientist that has tested several samples, and that is what I'm told they get on the DNA profiles. Note, it seems the basic building block for making one of these creatures is starting with human female mitochondrial DNA. Something you see in the alien abduction phenomenon. I do not think this is just a coincidence. It seems the Dogmen show up in the same areas that the Sasquatch inhabit. Though there are stories of bloodbaths perpetrated by these Dogmen, I have no first-hand accounts. Me neither. Only that they look evil and menacing and scare the crap out of people. I have had 3 encounters with these things. 2 I captured on the back trail camera. This is a camera strapped around my shoulder filming what is going on behind me in the blind spot. And 1 close-up, eye contact encounter where I felt he was going to charge. I drew my pistol and was ready. But thank God the charge never happened and I was able to get the heck out of there. I'll tell about this encounter in another email. The pictures I've attached are of the first ever encounter I had of these things. I was doing my Bigfoot thing in heavy thick cover, looking over to a small island that was separated from the point by an old shallow submerged roadbed on the lake. While I was concentrating on this island, this, quote, Dogman, end quote, came up behind me, only a few feet away. When I started to turn around and turn my shoulders, the back trail camera caught it, taking its head from a nose testing the air position to leveling his head off and sticking one eye and its snout through the branches of a small cedar tree. I hesitating in my turn, which caused this thing to rock back and forth, waiting to see what I was going to do. As I finally turned, it ducked down out of sight. All this is captured on HD video, which I have posted multiple versions on my YouTube channel. I was unaware of his presence, though I remember had an odd feeling. I did not know that I captured the footage until I was at home reviewing the back trail footage. I literally almost crapped my pants when I saw it. This thing was 3 to 4 feet behind me. I've attached some still shots of the thing. Yes, they are fuzzy because I've blown them up, etc., but given your visual acuity, I think you'll be able to see it pretty easy. But it happened wrong before. Quick funny story, I was showing a guy this video on a computer monitor in HD, and when had saw it, he jumped backwards several feet and yelled, "What the F is that?" Now that's somebody who's got some scared in him. I don't have to point it out. When people see it for the first time, it usually gets that kind of reaction. People are just not ready for it, or what it looks like. Anyway, this Buddy the Elephant's getting a little longer by the second. A couple other things to point out. This thing had a small entity on the right shoulder / side of its head. The entity had silver hair and human-toned skin. Its little mouth was moving the whole time, including a popping like or blowing movement. To be honest, no one knows. Maybe an infant Dogman? The look more humanish as infants? Don't know. Next email I will address what I think be causing the missing people, along with what Dave and I have discussed about it. Be safe for this upcoming hunting trip. Hope you enjoy the picture, Scott. P.S. If you really want to freak out the Sasquatch when you feel one strong and know its general location, turn, wave at it, and say out loud, "Hello. How you doing? Nice day out." Trust me, it usually makes them back off a little. Interesting. Oh, and I got another couple of emails in here. This is a volley, okay. From me. Scott, thank you for that. Awakening and disconnecting from the BS is quite the confusing ride, to say the least. I'm not fully versed at this point, but I'm rapidly learning and taking lots in non-stop. can be a bit confusing to understand why they will stick to the rules so well, while humans break them non-stop and with such violence if the reason is God. I'm not familiar with the Dogman, but due to the descriptions, I know I wouldn't hesitate for a second to squeeze the trigger on one, unlike the Sasquatch beings. I wonder how this under-advertised war of good against evil will turn out. I have listened to Dave P. a few times. I haven't read his books. The lack of mainstream attention is mind-boggling. Do you have any thoughts on who is the guilty party? Packing for 3 more weeks, leaving Friday to an area the Sasquatch beings frequent at the same time. And I'll admit I'm not interested in having a face-to-face with them again anytime soon. If they would contact me with speech, I probably would. Take care out there, Steve. And then I have another one. So I think I probably read them the wrong way because they're all stacked. But I'm going to keep going here, all right? Maybe interesting to some. Steve, below is an email string of an experience where I helped a fellow that was having issues with Sasquatch and or Dogman-like creature. You ask why they don't just kill without restraint, or what holds them back. In my opinion, it's God. These are spiritual beings that have to obey spiritual rules. This is next level stuff, but you ask, so I am giving it to you. Alright, so this is from the man to Scott. Alright? I haven't read this. I was raised in Blount County, Blount County, and grew up on County Farm Road near William Blount High School. I graduated from Maryville High School in 1970. I bought a secluded 32-acre tract in Morgan County in 2004. I went to work clearing and built a cabin myself. And this was to be a hunting cabin until I could retire, when I planned to build a log home for my wife and I. That didn't go as planned, so I'm pretty much a hermit. A buddy bought a bunch of acreage around me, so me and my 2 wolf cross dogs have over 200 acres surrounding my cabin. This is at the end of a dead-end road with no close neighbors. To the back of the property, there are no roads or houses for 3 miles or so. It's mostly Bowater property. One word, Bowater property. It is located between Big South Fork and Catoosa, WMA. Excuse me. A friend of mine had a daylight encounter with a creature in the early 2000s near here. He was visibly shaken when he told his story, and I had no reason to doubt him. This is probably the only reason they finally convinced me that they were here. I've had odd things happen here on the property early on, but I always was able to blow them off until this past spring and summer. I have heard roars, whoops, and most often howls. I've run into walls of stink twice this past summer. All this activity has slackened off since about this past November, but I feel like it'll pick back up this spring. I've never had a sighting or found a track, though I am plenty woods wise, having hunted my whole life and living in the woods full time for over the last 12 years or so. I would like to speak to you at your convenience sometime as possible. I'm not asking you for you to investigate my property, just answer a few questions if possible. I generally don't answer numbers that aren't on my contact list, but if you reply to this email, I will add your contact. Thank you for your time. And then Scott answered him, Charlie, I would pray something like this. In the name of Jesus Christ, I rebuke any Sasquatch, Bigfoot, or Nephilim. I rebuke you. You are not allowed on my property. I forbid it in the name of Jesus Christ. Lord, please watch over me, my family, my property, and protect me from the Nephilim, demons, principalities, powers, and the fallen angels. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Did I read this? I think I read that prayer. And then the man replied, thank you, Scott. Will I be any extra danger when I leave the property? I hear wolf howls more often than anything else. A neighbor saw one near here the size of a big deer less than a month ago. I suppose I should add Dogman to the prayer. God bless. Charlie, I've had close encounters with the Dogman. They are satanic in my opinion. I would pray for protection often, regardless of where you are. I do, and regular pray is good for the soul. Scott. And then next from Charlie. Sorry I haven't kept you updated as I should. I wanted to give it time to make sure. Things are back normal here. haven't had this kind of peace around here in years. I'm not afraid to let my dogs out, nor do I feel the need to carry a 45 any time I'm outside. This time last year, it was getting pretty serious. And since you told me the secret, I haven't heard a peep in months. Kind of like Dorothy wanting to get back to Kansas when she met the wizard. He told her that she had the power all the time. All she had to do was click her heels together. I had the power all along. All you need is an unwavering belief in Jesus Christ, our Savior, and daily prayer for protection from these demons. Thank you again for all your help. I hope you can share this with others that have had my same problem. Hope you and your family are safe, happy, and well on this Memorial Day. Forever thankful, Charlie. And then one more. Charlie, glad to hear they are staying away after your prayer. The Lord is mighty and powerful. Thanks for staying in touch and appreciate this testimony. It'll be helpful when others come to me for help. So many can't believe that prayer and faith is what is required to get rid of them. Scott. And then on to me, he says, Steve, believe it or not, that's the key to understanding these beings. They are physical and spiritual and must obey God's rules. That is the answer to your question, Scott. And then he included a whole bunch of his photos. You know, a lot of them look animated and phony to some, I guess, and blown up. And I guess, yeah, they're all available on his channel, his website. You've all seen them before numerous times and in his books, I guess. But there you go. Shared. Take from what you will, leave it. But the thing is why don't humans have to follow the same? Why doesn't prayer stop humans from raping a child? Innocent, honest question, right? I am not saying anything bad about prayer, but if prayer can stop a 1,000-pound hairy man-leg beast with a canine head from harming you, why doesn't it work on human beings? It's an honest question. It's a question that came to mind right away. Now, one thing I would like to touch on while I have everybody here. I should just read one more first. What do we got here? Can't read this quick. Sasquatch question mark. Gotta read this? Let's call him a title maybe. Let's see. Let me start up by saying I am a believer. I know you probably chuckled but reality is there are two categories involved with the subject. Believer, non-believer. My story leads more to a question I'd like you to touch on if you could. Okie dokie. I kind of leave out the word believer myself. I either say, you've accepted the facts, or you haven't. You know? Here it goes. About 6-7 years ago, my son turned 12. First year to legally carry a gun himself and hunt. He played hockey at the very competitive level, and at 12 years old, and our free weekends were sparse to say the least. Yeah, hockey parents don't envy him. It so happened that year we had a free Saturday for the youth squirrel hunt. I decided to take him up into the mountains. Pennsylvania's mountains are more like foothills, where you're from. We arrived after daybreak, and I figured to put some miles on to practice stalking and being alert. About mid-morning, we had made our way to a giant boulder overlooking a flat. The flat was surrounded on 3 sides by mountain laurel. Shortly after we perched ourselves on the boulder, I noticed a group of white-tailed doe make their way out of the laurel 300 yards in front of us. I gave my son my binoculars and let him look at them. When I took a turn, I noticed that the doe looked uneasy. I have no doubt that they made us, even from that distance. Dead calm wind early in the season, 300 yards away. Whitetails usually don't pay you much mind. Their behavior suggested that they might be in danger. It appeared as though they didn't know how to escape. That's when I unmistakably heard a very large rock hit the ground. The solid thud startled the doe, and at that point they became very confused as to a direction of safety. They whirled around, and several started in different directions, gathered up, and eventually put their heads down and snuck off into the laurel. I took the binoculars off my son and scanned the entire landscape. thought it must be a logger or someone tending to a gas well, but I saw nothing. We sat there a while longer, looked for maybe a clue as to what happened. As we decided to move on, I asked my son what he saw and possibly heard as we sat there. I thought he would think of it as a test. I wasn't sure if I had seen and heard what I thought I did. I was surprised to hear his answer that he witnessed the same very alert, confused group of doe and a loud thud that sounded like a rock being thrown. I know there are a number of possibilities to explain the experience, and I chalk it up to just one of those weird occurrences. But my question is, have you or any of your subscribers noticed other wildlife when they had their Sasquatch encounter? Although I haven't dwelled on my experience much, I had thought it could have been possible that a Sasquatch was hunting the doe and trying to ambush one in the Mountain Laurel. My son is convinced we had a Sasquatch encounter, not a sighting. I, on the other hand, just consider it an unexplainable hunting experience. I hope I was able to tell my story interestingly enough for you to want to ask my question. Certainly you could reply back if you can answer it yourself. Thank you, Scott. Another Scott. Not Scott Carpenter. There you go. Question asked. Audience, throw down in the comment section below and answer the man. And I would absolutely be leaning towards listening to your son. He's still young, still possibly has that more stronger intuition and inside knowing. And I believe he knows what he saw and sensed. What we got here? These ones? Oh, look at that. No fingerprints in these readers. There you go. Question shared. Now, who else? One thing I would be doing, if I could, I don't know how I could do it, but I believe it's very important, is fright. You know, I was listening to that Darius guy. Darius Wright was his name the other day. I shared it on here with you guys. Shared it to the sleuths, and I noticed that there's have been a whole bunch of positive comments about the man. He seems to be having some kind of experiences. Someone cautioned me that if I'm triggered by the earth being called flat, to be prepared. Nothing. The flat earth thing don't trigger me. Like I said a million times, I don't give a flying shit what it is. Flat, round, triangle, I don't care, it's working. But I do say, all in all fun, not that this is a topic. The flat earth thing is not a topic today or ever with me, but honest request. If this is flat, could somebody please take me to or show me where the edge is? Because I'm not kidding you, I'm dead serious. I would love to put a trail camera there. The amount of traffic on the edge of the earth would be absolutely insane. I would love to do that. Honest request. Moving along. This guy and more people have one thing that made me go, huh? Because I got the little shelf over here with something that came into my brain via everybody here. Quite a while ago, somebody shared with me that our words are very powerful. Our spoken out loud words are very powerful. And I've heard that now from a few different sources that I think are very legit in sharing their knowledge and wisdom with all of us. And might sound kind of funny to you guys. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't care. But I say out loud at least 3 times every single day by myself in private, I'm going to have one hell of a happy day today. I'm going to look in the sky and say, I am going to be happy today and have an unbelievably great, happy day. I do it basically, I think, almost every day. And one other thing I always say, but I've said it for a long time, I'm not scared. I'm not scared of nothing. And I believe that I'm just tapping on the scared thing. I wish I could somehow, because I think it was that Darius guy the other day, I heard him or somebody saying how we should not be scared. We shouldn't be scared of anything. But the one quick little sentence that I heard was, what can you do to the man or woman who isn't scared of anything? Right? Think about that one. Answer that question. Think about that one. That one kind of really sunk in for me, in a way. That's a great question. Ask yourself right now. What can you do to the man or the woman who is not scared of anything? Right? Nothing. Nothing. You can't motivate them to do anything if they aren't scared. Anything they don't want to do, you can't. Now keep that thought in mind. Do you think there's any examples of anybody wanting you to be scared going on today? Think about it. How common is that? How common is it for groups, individuals to use being scared as a very, very, very effective motivator when it comes to you? Right? Being scared. How many channels, how many people when, if you, as you're surfing, say, the internet now, looking for answers, listening to various people, as soon as I see anyone attempting to throw down, be ready, it's coming, be scared, be ready, the boogeyman, it's like, next, I'm out. Peddling fright. Peddling being scared. You're just a branch of serving the entity, as far as I'm concerned, right? So, on that note, how can I motivate people to not be scared of shit? You know what I mean? What a very effective. But I guess that can go in the other way. I mean, you don't want dark, evil people to not be scared of they need consequences, right? The bad people need consequences, but good people shouldn't be scared of anything. But it's true. Remember that. What can you do to the man or the woman who doesn't fear anything? Think about that one. And then think about where you are in life with anything. Think about where you are in life. Think about anything. Anything. Any topic, I mean. What are you scared of? What's preventing you from going that way? It's just being scared. I can't. Right? People think this. Who gives a shit what people think? There's various levels of being scared. I'm too scared to do this. I'm too scared to do that. Then you have become absolutely effectively controlled by the tool called, we'll call it fright, right? Being scared. It's very, very unfortunate to watch and be aware of, but anyway, I just hope that I can possibly, everybody here can help each other drop being afraid. We're all dying. We're all dying. We're going to die real quick. This lifetime is a very, very short, quick, very short experience. You are dying. Right? Well, I'm scared to catch cancer. I'm scared to drive in the night. I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. I don't want to die. Well, you're dying anyway. Sorry, don't shoot the messenger. You're going to be dead. So quit being scared of shit. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. Right? Right? Doesn't make sense to be scared of anything. Try to imagine a society where people aren't scared, but even the people who are not scared can still band together and make laws to stop anyone from being evil and have consequences. Because right now, the evil people don't have consequences, right? Criminals, people are hurting people, they don't have consequences. That's the big problem. Okay, I'm babbling. Sorry. Let me get back on track. Anybody talking about those children going missing lately? Speaking of being scared, do you think maybe somebody's benefiting from terrorizing children, maybe? Still talking about those missing children, everyone? Wondering why you don't? Did I bring that up again? Now, this is recent. This says part 2. Part 3? Huh? Hi, Steve. I did send a part 2 with attached photos of wolf people. or werewolves / Dogman taken in England over the last 7 years by myself. My reason for writing this time, if the Sabe people are over 90% human, similar to the wolf people, again a mixture of human / canine DNA, I would suspect the male DNA is an unknown at the present time. But that aside, whoever created the Sabe people must have created the wolf people as well. I find the wolf people have similar thought traits as ourselves, despite natural forms of aggression, ears back, teeth showing. These creatures have thought patterns to ourselves. They will watch you for a long time. They're more curious than a Cheshire cat, meaning they are extremely nosy and like to get into your business. Over the last 8 years, there's only been one occasion when I thought, this is the day when I die. But alas, the thought of going home with clean underwear saved the day. Anyway, just getting back to the creation of these creatures, despite the tales told in the Old Testament, the book of creation from Babylon, Enuma Elish, which is a copy of the Sumerian book of creation. Thank God, copyright laws didn't exist in those days. There is one tale of Queen Tiamat, aka Inanna, Ishtar, who was the daughter of the Lord of Heaven, Anu. She was ordered to create 7 beings. Number 5 on her list was Lahamu, the hairy beast man. Now, there are many descriptions of Tiamat, but she was human female looking. Could she be the source of the over 90% human DNA in the Sabe people? And of course, things that are created in God's image. As always, all the best to you, Steve. Regards, Mike. There you go. Bunch of questions. I don't know. I can't really comment because I can't really answer that smoothly at this stage of the game. But I'm getting there. I am definitely getting there. We'll see what else everyone has to say in the comment section below, though, if they feel motivated. Quick note. Oh, I said a quick note. If you've been cautioning people to be afraid of anything, you're part of the problem. Don't forget that one. I went to say that earlier. That was my note. If you've been cautioning people to be afraid of anything, people say to me when I shared that video yesterday of that guy, Darian, sorry, why am I so bad at names right now? I got him an email. You're going over to the wrong side. You're opening up a box we're not supposed to open up. It's dark. It's evil. Don't go there. Be afraid. Yeah, shut up. Right? Thanks, but no thanks. No. I think that for anyone to be triggered to caution people to be scared, don't go there. Don't look into that. It's not good. There's nothing but evil there. Really? Well, from what I'm learning right now, anyone who wants us to be afraid, I'm learning right now that we should probably go in the direction where we've been cautioned to be afraid of. Right? Because being afraid is a tool. Being afraid is a tool. And the closer you get, the more fear the entity's gonna impose on your ass. Directly or using people who have been effectively coerced to being afraid, right? I get a lot of people who are afraid emailing me. Don't do this, don't do that, don't read that, don't look into that, don't go there. Wrong guy. Don't peddle your fear here ever anymore. Done with the fear. Don't peddle your fear. Look at yourself, look at why you are scared, who taught you to be scared, and who taught you to share to others and spread that fear as a cancer. How'd you get there? You're not to be afraid of anything, all right? Don't spread your fear cancer here or anywhere. Try not to. Try to fight it, all right? Don't spread your fear cancer. I know that's a new one. Could be a t-shirt, right? Don't spread your fear cancer here or anywhere else anymore. Stop, okay? Please. Please stop spreading fear. What do we got here? Excuse me. I've had a little bit of a scratchy throat since I got back from the woods this week. Not sick, though. All right, here we go. Who's next? This is titled, I called my sons to me from miles away. Wow, got my attention. Hi, Steve. Thankfully, I'm not a member of the club in a return. However, I spent 23 years in the Royal Marines in Britain and developed a true love of the outdoors and the wonder of nature. You're doing a great thing, sir. Lack of knowledge should not be the reason people have encounters with these secretive forest people. What happened to me, amazing, and as far as I'm concerned, can only be explained as telepathic. About 5 years ago, I'm now 66, I had a COPD attack. This manifests as an inability of the lungs to absorb enough oxygen to maintain normal functions of the body. Oof. With me, I found my thinking becoming vague and foggy as my brain started to struggle for oxygen. I became confused and was struggling to fill my lungs. I was alone. And it came to me that I might die. In my desperation, I screamed out in my mind, no breath to shout, for my sons. I had no idea how effective that had been. 10 minutes after I called them, my youngest, Paul, turned up at my door, and 5 minutes later his brother, Stuart, arrived. They took things in hand, and the paramedic gave me oxygen, and my recovery was almost immediate. Once the medic left, we had a cup of tea, of course, and I asked them why they had come when they did. Paul said, and I quote, I was sat at my mate's house, and a voice in my head told me to go to you right now. Not to wait, but leave immediately. Whoa. Stuart laughed and said the same had happened to him, but he was further away. I've gone through the incident in my head many times and have come to the conclusion that I achieved telepathic communication with my sons because the absolute focus of my will and complete singularity of intent and purpose. There is nothing in my mind but my need for them. I'm sure that the grace of God had a hand in my life that day, but the communication between us was as real as if I had used a phone. Wow. So there it is. As you say, make it what you will. Use my calling by all means. Anyone who wants to call my honor into question does so at their own risk. Nick of the Devon clan. Holy shit, Nick. That's pretty damn cool. And not the first time we've heard of something like that going down. Right? Wow. That's pretty damn cool. I think almost all of us have experienced something, right? Something of that nature. Not directly exactly identical, but similar, right? I mean, even me, I've had a lot of weird things happen, but I go with it. I mean, I'm a lot more in tune with myself and my surroundings in this world that we're in than I ever have been, but I'll never, it still takes me back a little bit. My example, it's not related, but maybe it is. Like last year, remember I was away for, I think, 3 weeks up north, solo. Finally got home, a couple days to get home. And I was home for 2 days. 2. And I think there was 2 days, maybe 3 left for black-tailed deer season right here in southwestern British Columbia. And normally it takes me weeks to get a buck of what I'm looking for when it comes to black-tailed deer hunting. It's just tough. But anyway, I probably shared this last year. I was at home. I hadn't even unpacked. And all of a sudden it was just like this. Huh? Just like that. And I looked at Sarah and I went, I gotta go. I gotta go to my blacktail spot. She's like, what? Right? Imagine that, popping that one on the household when you got home after being away 3 weeks. And I go, no, I gotta go. It's gonna happen. I left. I packed my stuff, grabbed my bow, threw it in the truck, drove an hour and a half, jumped on the ferry for a couple hours. I drove an hour, got a room, woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, drove, hiked in the dark, and shot with my bow one of the largest blacktail bucks I've ever seen with my bare eyeballs. Just like that. What? And then butchered them up, threw them all in my pack, and headed to my truck and went home. It still just freaks me out. It doesn't really freak me out. I get it. And I do get that we all have guides in life, without a doubt. I've heard it on a few different channels of very spiritually connected people. A lot of people, a big common denominators, people have said, not common denominator, common statement many people have made is that we do all have guides. Every one of us has a guide or guides in this lifetime that we do not directly communicate with or see. And I absolutely believe that is fact. Absolutely believe that is fact. And I hope that after this lifetime, this very short lifetime's over, I'm going to have some laughs with my guides. That's for certain. Be like, holy shit, you remember that day? You know what I mean? Think about that one. I think after this lifetime's over, I'm really going to be laughing my face off at my lifetime. Not laughing as being comical, but just laughing at all the shit that I got to do and experience in the directions I went. I'm probably going to come skidding to a halt in tattered clothes and worn out boots and go, whew, holy shit, that was a crazy one. Let's do it again, you know? I know I'm babbling. Reasons for Sasquatch behavior, perhaps, is the title's email. Hey Steve, here's a few observations of mine as to why Sasquatches act in various ways. I haven't heard much discussion on this in your many videos yet, so I hope this may be helpful and not gratuitous. Okay? Okay. Hold on a minute, the big boss is texting me. Hold on a minute. How long is this? Oh, it's not that long. Territorial. The huge increase in human dwellings, logging roads, and motor traffic in the wild places has undoubtedly been to these beings a threat. They must be afraid of losing their homeland, which, much like the First Nations experienced. So, to scare off all people who can be scared, and especially those who would shoot them on sight, would be very important to them. I know that on my family's cattle ranch we felt the same way about trespassers and or rustlers. We probably scared some enough that they didn't want to return. Good. Sasquatches have a few tricks on their side to scare the piss out of people, right? But some, maybe more gentle-natured ones, are curious, like the one that watched you from the rocky point that evening. Maybe some want a dialogue with certain calm humans, so as to express their fears and worries, etc., about what must appear to them as invasion of their domain. Scaring humans out of their domain and escorting some to the road does the job. Mission accomplished. They seem to be endowed with great psychic powers to make everything go quiet and to make fear into an almost tangible reality for us helpless, inferior humans, lol. That we feel undergunned and victimized by them sometimes is very natural for us. I personally have never felt fear, even when only yards away from one, which was a white one, by the way, yet I was very alert. Not afraid, though. Hearing the full throttle screams will definitely get your attention, I can assure you. This happened to me in the Salmon River country of Idaho, and again in the Selway Mountains in Idaho. These I see as territorial calls in their nature. They sure get the point across. Can we humans come to understand their concerns? Good question. Their pole structures could be territorial markers like a cougar scrape or a grizzly scratch tree or wolf marking posts. I see this as natural behavior for them. Throwing logs across a trail is a clear statement by them they have trespassed. I hope that you and others can see where I'm going with this. Now, before someone starts thinking I'm a touchy-feely tree hugger type, I'll tell you I've hunted for 55 years and have killed about 13 dozen deer, elk, black bears, and cougars, and one pronghorn. There. Men kill for self-defense, or for food, or for a combination of fear, anger, hatred, and this is verified by all human history. But I hope we can remember that we share this awesome planet with many creatures, all of which were created to be here with us. All we humans need is the knowledge and compassion to be in harmony with all the Creator makes. Don't take this as a sermon, please. I hope it helps in the Steve Isdall Round Table Conference. Thank you so much for being an intelligent stand-up man and for letting me take part in it. Neelis Cook. Appreciate that email, my man. Thank you so much for your time and your thoughts. For me at this stage of the game, no. No. Not for me, just for me. Take from away, will leave it. But do I believe there is potentially some type of a veil thinning between parallel existences? Yes, I do. I do believe that, without a doubt. I do believe that. So, I also believe 100% that these beings and more are spiritual and physical to this existence here alongside of us. So, that should possibly help everyone understand that maybe, possibly, nope, it's not about losing territory. Not when you are spiritual and physical. Excuse me, no, it's not. These people like being here? I believe they do. Do they like seeing what we are doing it? Probably not. Do I think that history has repeated itself? As I've heard people talking about it. Other people, I do believe that history repeats itself. Without a doubt. What do you guys know about the possible upcoming of 3 Days of Darkness? What do you guys know about that? I listened to a podcast last night, I think. I woke up, the chickens were going ape shit outside. So here I am running around out there on my bare feet with a thermal, trying to see what's up. Nothing bad. I guess they were having a nightmare. But anyway, so there I am wide awake, so I threw down some kind of podcast, and they were talking about our history, the history of the earth, thinning veils, the possibility of some kind of great reset, and the 3 days of darkness, which they say, the word on the street, is no electronics, nothing electrical, nothing's going to work. To accept that 3 days as, they said, planes will crash, vehicles won't move, and to accept the 3 days of darkness as a positive thing and relax and go with it, accept it. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff attached to that podcast I listened to. What do you guys think about that one? What do you guys think about the 3 days of darkness? Do you think that's a reality for this time while we're here right now? Is that coming in the far off but near future? Is it valid? Is it real? What do you think? How do you feel about that one? 3 days of darkness coming. The earth absolutely shifting. Possibly going to spin the opposite direction even, maybe. Wouldn't that be something else? Would that be something else? There's so much crazy ass shit going on. I listen to so many people speak. It's ridiculous. So it's hard for me to sit here and pick one topic that I've been keeping tabs on, right? And really discuss it thoroughly so you can understand where I'm coming from. But what's my main message for today is for people to stop peddling fear. Stop peddling fear. You come across people or groups, a government, anybody who is trying to get your attention by using fear, I hope that you would soon recognize that as the number one indicator to skip, kick to the curb, keep moving forward. Anyone, any route, any example of someone trying to motivate you with fear, whether it be to watch them, listen to them, or do something, and using fear as a motive, don't give them an ounce of your energy. All right, I gotta go. And I will hopefully be back tomorrow. I got a lot coming up. Looks like I have to head back to the mountains again. I have to go to a friend of mine. His dad passed away. Good man. I got to go to his celebration of life, which means I may also as well go back into the mountains by myself again for a day. But I'll be back here tomorrow. I should be. Mouthful today, right? Later.